what I'm going to talk about is farewell speeches. And we're going to have sort of a discussion, demonstration on farewell speeches. Now, farewell speeches are a toughie. Because one of the greatest farewell speeches that we participated in is someone's death. And those are farewell speeches. And then we farewell speech for leaving for a long time, or for leaving a job. And these are lasting things that you want to share with people. You want to share what your experiences were when you participated with them. And you want to add on a feeling of niceness and closeness. Now, I'll tell you, it used to be much more important years ago because we didn't have Facebook, right? Yeah, we didn't have Facebook, so it's like my son yesterday took off, went to San Francisco, and I found out what he was doing in San Francisco about 10 minutes after he did it. And when you leave, you really don't, you're really still close to people. We have the most awesome life's experience right now of being able to share things with someone in your native countries, almost instantly, isn't it? So farewell speeches aren't quite as important because we keep connects all over the world. In fact, they did a big study on seven people you can communicate with everyone in the world. Did you ever hear that? 7 people you can communicate. They did tests on it. They actually dropped things in different places all over the world. They dropped in the middle of Africa. And people found, they dropped like stuff off planes. And people found it and got the messages back. This is done from California, from Hollywood. They got it back to Hollywood within 7 people. So we have a pretty good life now. Now, farewell speeches are something that, especially when it comes to examples, death, you know, you have to say farewell to a loved one. And you have to get stuck up giving the speeches. And according to the study, most people that have to do it, statistically, would rather be in the coffin. But we have to sit down as speakers and be ready for these things. And we have to have a somberness and a feeling, and we have to be able to talk through tears. And that's a toughie, isn't it? Anyone have to talk through tears? It is really tough, and you have to learn how to go through it, feel it, and then go on, because you have to complete something for everyone in the audience as well as yourself. And there are going away things where you have to complete things. You have to tell them, you have to say, you know, my friend's gone, or my dad's gone, or I'm going. And then you have to bring them up from that point to show all the beauty that went on. Example here. I started doing Toastmasters in this area at this club several years ago, and Jim was a member at the time. You're the only one here right now that was there, but we have others that are in that usually come that were members. But I have actually grown during this several years. And now I only hear a couple days, weeks a year, but I used to be here quite a bit, a month, 2 months. But I've went from being totally frightened of speaking to extremely comfortable. But like a person on stage, you always have the jitters. You always have the jitters when you stand up there. And it goes from not handling it to an excitement. So all those that are at the, it isn't exciting yet, it will be. It's learning, it's being skillful at it. Jim does that now. It's never perfect. You're always before you're on stage, you're always a little tense. And it adds value because people can actually feel that. We can feel that excitement that people have when they get in front of us. But as we talk about these things, you go back and you say, I remember in one speech, I gave a gift to everyone, and it was a rock. Remember that, Jim? And 2 years later, Jeff Young, everyone knows Jeff, that's a permanent member here. Jeff said, Roland, 2 years ago, gave me this rock, and I still have it in my pocket and rub it. And so, these experiences that we can have just grow on us, and if you get a small group that you just meet on occasion, like Toastmasters, you can form friendships. Now, Jeff and I have started a radio show called Omen Stories that we will have. Actually, I have it right here when I'm here. Jeff and I have told, we're on our 106, I'm saying, I gotta complete this verse. This is our 167th show this week. Now this is the first week that Jeff hasn't made it. In 167 weeks. This is the first week Roland's alone. But during that time, Jeff and I have told a different story every week about our lives. Now, you know one of the people in this world that knows Jeff probably more than most everyone in the rest of the world? Me. And he has the same thing because he has listened to 167 minimum stories of our life. Sometimes we'll tell 2, 3 during an hour talk. But that journey that we've taken has been wonderful. And it all happened here at Toastmasters. Now, every fall I have to leave again. And I want to stay, and I want to go. I want to go because I get in my 40-foot RV, and I get my little CRV behind it, and I'm out of here, man. And I get to go to Phoenix. I go to Phoenix, and that's Apache Junction. And then I head to Texas. And then I head to Kentucky. Then I head to Nashville. And then I head to, up to Wisconsin. I got a bunch of stuff with Indian tribes, Wisconsin. I head to Minnesota. And I have a great journey, and I have people all along my route that I love, and I form beautiful relationships. I have a club in Kentucky. And the founder, and usually the president, a person by the name of Clay Campbell, and he owns the Kentucky Opry. Now remember I told you I started doing stories? Well, the next thing I added was music. So now we have the Kentucky Opry as part of Omen Stories Opry. Now, that is another radio station we've added. And it was done specifically because I was around Toastmasters. And because Clay inspired me. And I joined them because I had joined here. And all these things are tight and beautiful. But at each spot I have to leave. And I have to leave there when I leave. And they say, Roland, we'll see you next year. And Clay says, be sure you bring your RV back because his picture is on the side of my RV, one with me and one with the Oak Ridge Boys, if you know country music, okay? And he and I are just awesome friends, great friends. And he introduces me to wonderful people all over Kentucky and basically Nashville and every place. And I've integrated them into what I do. But I'm sad to leave here because this is the place where my granddaughter started speaking. You remember when my granddaughter was here? Were you here when she was here? My granddaughter came in and we had her talking. And it was just absolute fun. It was beautiful. And I was thrilled that she got the nerve to stand up like your son and talk and join us. And I loved it. Now, as speakers, we have to learn or think about how we're going to do these things. And we have to think about the joy we get from the moments that we participated. Now, I've added something this last year, and I'll bring it in at the end. In speaking. Anyone remember what it is now that I've added? And all my speeches that I never did before? No, this is for all my speeches that I've integrated, and I'm doing it at different clubs. This is something brand new for me.
Singing.
What?
Singing.
Singing, yeah. I brought in singing. And I brought it in when I first started. Was it here? It was in one of the clubs. But I brought it in. And I got to tell you this wonderful story. I brought it in. I went to the Kentucky club where Clay is, remember? And I went in and I stood up in front. And I said, I'm going to do something I've never done. I'm going to bring in singing. And he looked at me like, you don't sing at Toastmasters, you talk! Now, I started talking here, and what happened the next meeting? The next meeting when I was here, one of the other fellows came in and brought instruments and started playing. A whole new, and he started explaining about, what was it? He had a ukulele, yeah. Ukulele, and he started explaining it and singing, and it was just like a whole new level. We raised ourselves as a group to a whole new level, and I was thrilled. And I was thrilled. By the way, when you said 15 minutes, right? I was planning on 7. So I
will withhold my comment.
But I said, well, you never know how long your speech is going to have to be. You never know when you have to fill in for 2 people. And you never know how many people are sitting there when you're giving a eulogy. Maybe the other person chickened out. Okay? And you have to sit for an extra 10 minutes and talk for both of you. There are people that can't, that stand there and they start walking up to give a eulogy and they start crying so much that they have to sit down again. Have you ever seen it? Anyone ever seen that? I have. They had all this stuff ready, this beautiful stuff they were going to tell, and they started crying. And they had to sit down, and they couldn't complete the speech. As professional speakers, you have to get up there and complete it. And if they're not completing it, you have to complete it. Okay? And I want to tell you a little story about a funeral that I went to for someone I absolutely loved. Now, my wife, Terry, she's the only one left in her family. All her brothers and sisters have died, all her parents. She has one aunt that we visit once in a while. It's just about 2 years old now. But the rest of her family, we went to their funerals. But my best buddy for years and years and years was her brother Clyde. And Clyde was a Texas cowboy. He lived in California, but he was always a cowboy. He wore the Western hat. Okay? Let me grab the hat here. Now, he would always wear a Western hat, and he'd be dressed up. And now he, compared to me, the weight went that way. You know, he was about this tall, thin, absolutely phenomenal shooter, shot trap. Was Washington Today's champion. I wanted to come in and Clyde all the time, and he and I just meshed. We really liked each other. But Clyde had that Texas personality, quiet, easygoing, and you see mine. Mine's sort of bubbly and going, but we clicked and we loved each other. Well, at the funeral, my wife, Harry, they asked her what song that they should sing for the funeral. And I'll leave and end this with that song. And it was, Happy Christmas to you until we meet again. Happy Christmas to you. Keep smiling until then.